Hello everyone, thanks for joining us in Open Conference virtual event. In this talk, I'll present OpenStack community structure, its activeness, and the recent highlights of this community. My name is Ghanshyam Mann. I'm cloud consultant in NEC. In OpenStack, I serve as technical committee member. I'm core member in Nova QA. Also served as a PTL in OpenStack QA project. So OpenStack, a cloud infrastructure for virtual machine, bare metal, and container. This is no more only VM thing. It's bare metal and container provisioning also. And there are different projects in OpenStack around. We have 54 projects which provide you the different services, different technology, from orchestration to fault management, HA and service management, among us, all these services and lot more. And this is the OpenStack landscape. It's broken into different services, library, clients, and like in the center square, you can see all the different services in terms of compute, networking, storage, or shared service like Keystone for identity management. And you have operation tooling on right side in terms of monitoring, billing, testing tool. On the bottom, you have lifecycle management with deployment tools and packaging recipe also, and client tools on OpenStack Client, SDK. There are a lot of projects are there, and you can plug in these in your deployment model as per your requirement, use case, and create a stack. And OpenStack is most widely deployed open source cloud software in the world. And you can imagine it's managed more than 10 million compute cores around the world in all industries: healthcare, finance, telecom, research, e-commerce, retail, everywhere. I'll show you the picture of few of the use case story in next slides. And what runs on OpenStack? In many industry and use case, OpenStack run critical workloads around the world. And these are the few use case stories. And if you see the Postal Saving Bank of China, it has more than 40,000 outlets and nearly 490 million customers by using the OpenStack. It's a huge number. And CERN, very well known, they manage 300,000 plus core of OpenStack and 500 plus Kubernetes cluster using Magnum, OpenStack Magnum, which is container service in OpenStack. PyQ use OpenStack in 7 big data centers. These are like telco and government and academic sector. If you see these healthcare and finance, and one good example is on the right side, Commonwealth Bank. It's one of the world's largest bank which use OpenStack as its base of entire data management platform. And few more: e-commerce, manufacturing industries. One example is Snapdeal, India largest online marketplace that has 100,000 plus core. Walmart has 750,000 plus core. There are a lot of example from e-commerce too, and there are a lot of great use case stories, and these big players, they shared their stories in the common platform in OpenStack communities, which help each other to deploy, improve the things, or learn from each other. And yes, it's been 10 years in OpenStack. So OpenStack completed 10 years, and we celebrated the 10th anniversary in July. It was virtual celebration, but great fun. There was a community meeting where a lot of members shared their memories, and many members wrote their blog also about their memories, their 10 year of their journeys or less. And few of them were really great and inspiring. And it is not end here. It recent Open Infra Summit in last month. Foundation shared the next decade plan and also announced OpenStack Foundation becoming Open Infrastructure Foundation and home for all the OpenStack infra software. So what's the secret of this community? How this community is growing big and continuously growing it? And OpenStack community or in any other open source communities, there are a lot of challenges. You see, we have different culture, developers, different language, different time zone, different minds, and as we are human, we all have different way of working. And it is not easy task in open source. If you are in a single organization, I can say yes, that's very manageable, because you have boss and you have a different structure of management hierarchy, so they control the things. But when people are working as individual contributor in open source, things are not easy, because there is no boss in your open source, right? So how that can be managed in open source, and what makes people to be motivated to work in such a very distributed and even remotely environment, because all of us, we work remotely with each other. In conference only we get a chance to meet face to face, and in this year everything is virtual, so we didn't get that chance also. So who is keeping them motivated? And answer, you can say, is depends on the open source community, how open they are, right? Because any open source community depends on the software they are producing, their use case or real-time problem they are solving. They can attract the contributors, they can attract the companies at initial stage. But if how they can retain it, if they want to retain it for long term, the only thing is they have to be very open and fair in everything. And for OpenStack, the secret is this: for open. And this is very clear answer. And one of my favorite also, I can say the big reason for me to be a part of this awesome community. So if we talk about very first, open source. So every open source is released under open source license, so that it can be studied as a program. You can modify it, redistribute it. So that's very basic need for any open source. And second is open design. So every design of every software or every discussion in terms of specification, in terms of the code review, everything has to be done in open, and that's how the OpenStack community is doing. So even it's a small bug discussion to a big feature design or even a big project design, it is everything is openly. And every communication, even it is a mailing list, IRC channel, or design discussion things, everything is accessible by everyone. And all the projects share their roadmap, their feature planning, everything they share openly. And third is open development. It refers to all the tooling we are using in development process, that is very transparent or not, and that is accessible by everyone or not, irrespective of countries and irrespective of which companies you are working, unless companies have their strict IT policies. But yes, so in open development, it means like everyone is welcome to push the change, to do the code change. Even though I am a project owner, it doesn't matter. So if you are first time contributor, you can always welcome to push the patch and the commit or code change in my project. And yes, open community is very important, and it's about ensuring the community is cohesive, inclusive, and it take care of everyone, like everyone's voice is being heard, right? And even irrespective of the language, because not every country or every human speak in English, at least they are not native English speaker. Even for my example, being a non-native English speaker and working around 6 years from Tokyo, Japan, I never faced any difficulties even when I started in this community, or now I'm helping others to be starting in this community. So there is no language barrier or any culture barrier in these communities. For language thing, we try to be have the communication more and more asynchronous over mailing list, so that can be you can read it. If you don't understand, you can translate it and read it and reply it in your own times. So these are the things really helps to attract different developers from different countries, time zone, culture. So these four, I think, is the real key for OpenStack being so active for so many years. And let's check some stats. So how big that community was? It was around 130 1,000 plus community contributors. It's a big number. 692 organizations from 195 countries. You can imagine how big that community is. And overall, if you see, we had the 22 on-time release from our very first release named Austin to our most recent release Victoria, which was done in last month October. And initially we started with 2 projects, and now OpenStack has 54 projects in 2020, and 500,000 plus changes are being merged till now. It's a huge number. Every day it's around 900 changes are being proposed. So that was, yes, community was big. We had so many contributors and all. It's been 10 years. So now question comes whether OpenStack is still active or not. Whether community is active or not. If I start adopting the OpenStack in my production cloud, or I start redistributing the OpenStack distribution for public private cloud, whether the community is there to support me or not, or I can help the community or not, whether they are active, they are welcome me or not. So answer is yes, it is very active, and I'll show you a few of the stats where you can see how active we are. And in terms of membership, we have 68 corporate sponsors, 27 gold, platinum, and in last month foundation announced that there are 4 platinum applications also, and we have 24 board of directors from different membership. I will be talking about the structure of board of director in the next slides. And yeah, so these many corporate and organizations supporting this community, so you can see there is a big value of doing it. And in terms of the technical leadership, we talk about, currently we have 9 technical committee members. We used to have 13, but we reduced it to 9 for being more productive. And all these 9 members are being elected on every 6 months with 5 and 4 seats. We have 54 project team lead. So every project is being led by a project team lead, PTL, who's responsible for maintaining their feature planning team, release responsibility, or you can say the PTL is kind of a single point of contact for that project. PTL is not owner, PTL is not any dictator. So every technical discussion, every decision will be made by an entire team of that project, their core team, along with PTL, or their active contributors, user, operator, everything. So PTL is just a point of contact. And also in this cycle, technical committee has defined a new leadership model also, named as distributed project leadership. In this new model, there will not be any single point of contact, like there is no single person responsible for everything like PTL. So no PTL, but there will be multiple members sharing the responsibility of different tasks. Like one person will be licensed for the release things, activities, one for the security related bugs or testing related activities, or conducting the meeting. So the structure will be like distributing the task among different people. And Oslo is one of our first project trying this model in Wallaby cycle, or current development cycle, and we'll see how it goes. And so we have these 2 leadership model ready. So it's up to project, they can adopt the PTL model, or they can go for the distributed project leadership model also. And in current scenario, we have 1,000 plus maintainers and 1,000 plus active contributors. So in last 3 release, I'll be showing the few stat in the next slide of last 3 release. We are having average of 1,000 plus active contributor, which is still huge number. So these are current activities of or current numbers from the recent release. So 3 release data I have captured here. On the top, OpenStack Victoria release, which is our 22nd release, we released in October. 20,000 plus code chains from 800 contributors, 160 organizations being involved, and from around or more than 45 countries. And the previous 21st release named Usiri, we have 24 plus code chains, 1000 contributors, 180 organization, and 50 countries. And 20th release OpenStack Train, even more, 25 plus code chains from 1100 contributors, from 165 organizations, from 50 countries. So these are recent 3 release. You can see on an average we are able to produce 20,000 plus code chains per release, which is a 6-month release cycle. And on an average of around 1000 contributors are still active in this community. More than 150 organizations still active in this community. Average of like 40, 50 or more countries are still being involved in this community. And that is why OpenStack is continuous to be in one of the top 3 open source projects in terms of the activeness, in terms of the, you can say, the change request being merged, and other 2 are Linux kernel and Chromium. And it's been since I think around 1.5 or 2 years OpenStack is being in top 3 most active open source project. So you can clearly say yes, this community is still very, very active. So let's talk about, so we have seen like there are a lot of changes happening in every release or even in every day. Around 900, average of 900 changes are being proposed in a day. So question is how we test it, or I should put it like that, how strongly we test it. Because any code change is merging or released without testing is very dangerous. It can cause a regression or it can unstable your production environment. Obviously every cloud distro provider, you guys do the testing at your level before shipping anything to the customer, but doing the strong testing at upstream and before we release as an OpenStack community, it's very important we test it thoroughly, strongly, and we don't ship any of the features without test. And Joule is doing magic for OpenStack in that term. That is our CI/CD system for upstream testing. I'll not go into the Joule details, so I'll cover briefly about other testing tool we have in upstream, which you can use in your production also. But if you see from this slide, from left side we have Puppet code style checking also to make it OpenStack code consistent among the all 54 projects. We have documentation generation jobs also. Whenever there is a documentation change, it will automatically generate and publish it on site, online, as well as it will also update the offline PDF version also. Unit test, we have a lot of unit tests in our projects, and integration testing also. This is very important. So in integration testing we have a lot of tooling and a lot of test case scenarios we run, like with integrating the different services, we run the different scenario of the test case. For example, a test boot a VM from Nova, and it try to test, it create the volume in Cinder, try to attach the volume with the VM and set up the network via Neutron and try to SSH that VM, write something on that volume, then try to check that data is written or not. So like that we have integrated scenarios for our testing. And these are the number. You can say 1000 plus gate test cycle in an average day, and each cycle has 1000 plus test case. So total 1 million plus tests run in a day. So you can imagine how strongly we are testing. Every code change has been proposed to OpenStack. It is being tested very thoroughly. And this is a glance of how our Gerrit and Gate system look like. So if you can see the Joule checks, that heading, so under that we have a lot of different Joule jobs, around 15-20 or more per project, and each Joule job has the number of test case they run. It can be less or more than 1000 test case. For example, most of the integration jobs, they run around 1000 test case. If you see on the top visual of StackWiz, like 42 minute we ran 1249 tests, 0 failed and 97 skipped. Skipped is because of depends on the job configuration, how that job is configuring the OpenStack, and if it is configuring differently, so there might be few tests being skipped. And in the green color is the Nova unit test screenshot, and you can see around 16,000 unit tests are being run on one change per post change. So you can imagine how strongly we do testing. And we have like culture, like in any project, whenever you do the code change, and the very first requirement any reviewer do the review is whether you have the unit test, functional test written there or not. And if yes, then we start the review. If not, we request you to write the unit test and functional test as very first requirement. And depend on the code change, if it is a cross project things, then we also ask some of the integration test to do it and prove that code is not doing any regression, whatever the code change or intent of the code change is, that is being tested or not. So these are the few test tooling we use. Dev and test environment, we have DevStack, which create the our development environment. Every developer usually install the development environment using DevStack, and on Gate also DevStack install the OpenStack for every usual job. We have plugin architecture for DevStack. And syntax checks, we have hacking things, Puppet and hacking, having our customized OpenStack checks for our code, Puppet style. Test framework, we have Tempest, Patrol, Rally. They are all integration testing frameworks and RBAC testing. And Tempest is plugin based also. Grenade is for our internal upgrade testing. And yeah, Tempest, Patrol and Rally are the one like you can use in your production environment also. Many companies are using for their production cloud testing. And then we have test runner, test result. You can visualize using StackWiz, OpenStack Health Dashboard and all. So yeah, let's talk about governance and our team structure. So this diagram shows our team structure, like what all the teams and groups we have, and what all teams you can create or what all teams you cannot create. So let's talk about the board of directors. So board of directors is a governance body representing all the foundation members. It's composed of like 3 membership, or you can say 3 tiers. Platinum representative, and we have 8 platinum representative and 8 board of directors from each of them. And gold representative, we have elected 8 members from gold representative and independent representative also. So 8 board of directors has been elected for 1-year term from independent representative. For example, like any contributors. So if you would like to raise your hand for board of directors, so you can stand in election as per the eligible criteria, and community contributors they vote for you, and you can win and you can represent community in the board of directors also. And there are a lot of board of director working group also, board working group also, like finance committee, and you have interop working group which take care of the interop certification, and compensation committee, diversity working group, gold and platinum member committee. So these all working group are being managed by the board of director and board committee. Yeah, technical committee and technical working group. So OpenStack technical committee is a governing body for our OpenStack open source projects, right? So it is elected group, as I mentioned, like 9 technical committee members are being elected, and that represents like the contributors of project, and we have like a oversight on the overall direction of OpenStack. And this includes not just developers or contributor, operator, user, end user of that software. Everyone is part of this technical group now. So even you are not you have not contributed any code change in OpenStack, but you are a user or operator, you can still be part of this committee. I said this is the elected group. So as per the eligibility criteria, you can raise your hand for the election, which happens in every 6 months, and if you win, then you will be part of this. And it doesn't produce any deliverables as such, but technical committee work, or you can say that is organized with a different team, like project team, special interest group, Popup team, and working groups. We have election working group under technical committee for now, which take care of the election of technical committee and project team lead. So yeah, project teams. So they are responsible for producing the OpenStack deliverables. So they either produce a specific subset of OpenStack deliverables like compute, network, and all, or they are part of the integration software like QA, stable team, release management, and other teams. And yeah, this team is under sight of technical committee and led by project team lead. And yeah, they have, like, every project team has their maintenance team, we call it core reviewer team, and they manage the day-to-day activity under the project. So, and project teams on all the code repository, any code change you propose, they review it, they discuss any bug you report, they tries it, they discuss it, any feature planning, roadmap, everything is being handled by the project team and core team. And project team can own one or more than one deliverables. For example, few projects have more than 20 deliverables or 30 repositories under them. And we have around 54 projects for now, and these are the team you can create. So if you have any idea or any software you want to contribute in OpenStack, you can request to create a project team. There is a project new application requirement, you can go through that, and technical committee will check those, discuss those, and then approve accordingly it approve the project team application request, and you can be part of OpenStack governance body. So next is special interest group. So they're not directly reproducing any release, but they can own the repository. And so if you say, like, these are also under technical committee, and it's between, like, the developers, users, end users, operators. So their interest in the same topic, they comes together, they discuss the things, they give feedback, and then it goes to the project team, they can implement it, it can go to the Popup team also, it can go to the as a community goal also. So it's about a bridge between the OpenStack users, end user, operator, and developer, or anyone like wanted to discuss on a single topic. So that's where the SIG comes into picture. And there are many SIG, like API SIG is there, like for any OpenStack APIs guidelines, we refer or we consult with the API working group or API SIG. And we have a lot of other SIG also, bare metal, large scale SIG, multi-architecture SIG, and also more governance oriented SIG also there, like first contact SIG. First contact SIG is responsible or help new contributors to onboard and teach them the process and tooling of OpenStack communities. And next we have Popup team. These are the lightweight and short-term teams. So whenever we have like cross project work to do, or any of the work involve more than one project, we can create a Popup team, and they should have disbandment criteria, like they should have certain things to finish, and once those things are finished, we can disband these Popup team. So currently they are also under TC, and we usually have 2 or more than 2 members, like as a lead or co-lead, and different people can volunteer to be part of Popup team. And currently we have two Popup team running, image integration Popup team and consistent policy, RBAC policy, which I'll talk a little bit more about in the next slide also. And next is community goal. So these are per release objective, like when we have something common to be fixed or common to be done across consistently across all the projects in OpenStack, then we define a community goal that can be a user benefit things, or it can be a developer maintenance benefit things. So one example is we defined the policy in code in Stein that has a community goal, and even like towards the OpenStack as Python 3 only. That was one of the community goal, and we have done in all the OpenStack projects. Okay, so let's talk about the recent things we have merged and the things we are working on. So yep, very first thing is upgrade checks. So this is one of the good things. So these are the tools like operator can run before they upgrade OpenStack. So in every project, what we do whenever there is a change in their code base or from the upgrade perspective, whether it can break the upgrade or whether something has to be done before operators or cloud is being upgraded to the new release. So this tool is notifying you, will telling you that your upgrade is okay or not. So you can run this tool before upgrade also, after upgrade also. So if there are few action has to be taken, then it will notify you via the tool output, and you can take the appropriate action before trying the upgrade itself. So, and this tool is like the framework is there, but in every release, whenever there is an upgrade impact change, we expect every project to write the checks in this tool. And yes, Python 3 only. So OpenStack UC onwards, we are Python 3 only. We have dropped the Python 2.7 support or Python 2 support. So everything in OpenStack UC is Python 3 only. So if you are upgrading your cloud, upgrading your restore to OpenStack UC or later, then make sure you have all your base set up with Python 3. And offline doc, this is really important thing. So we have done we are generating the offline documentation for all of our OpenStack projects. So whenever you open the OpenStack doc site, there will be a PDF link on the right top. There you can download the latest version of that document offline, and you can read it offline. And those are up to date. Whenever there is a doc change in any project, any repository, we run the doc generation job, and that doc generation job update the document site, as well as the PDF offline PDF version of this doc also. And in the down, if you see the latest tested runtime, so these are our latest tested runtime. We test upstream code on Ubuntu 20.04, CentOS 8, OpenSUSE 15, and we have unit test job running on Python 3.6 and Python 3.8, and Node.js 10 for all our JavaScript things. And yeah, these three main features we have recently released in UC Recycle. So we focused on the reliability of core infrastructure layer. Like few of the example in Noah, we did the support for cold migration and resizing of virtual machine between the Noah cells. So across the cell you can cold migrate that, and you can also resize the VM. And support for IPv6 was added in Courier. And Ironic also added support for hardware retirement workflow to enable the automation decomposition in managed clouds. And security and encryption enhancement also was done. For example, TLS support in Octavia. Octavia is load balancer service in OpenStack and also in Cola deployment tool. And support for stateless security group also been added in Neutron, OpenStack Neutron, which is a networking project. So the user can now create a security group with stateless also, which means contract will not be used for any rule in the group. And a port can have only one state, either stateless or stateful security group. And yeah, in some use case like stateless security group will allow operators to choose the optimized data path, where stateful is more like the extra processing on the system. And few of the emerging use case also, like Cyborg has integration with Noah has been completed. Cyborg is accelerator lifecycle management project, and availability zone support is also added in Octavia, and CRI compatible runtime is now supported in Zone. And Magno also, along with the Kubernetes version upgrade, they also now added the support to upgrade the operating system for Kubernetes cluster on master as well as worker node. And yeah, a few additional integration with Kubernetes. There are also a few announcements, like Courier has implemented the support of CRDs, custom resource runtime definition, and Tacker also OpenStack service for Mann architecture, NFV orchestration. They have added the support of additional Kubernetes object. And Ironic also introduced better support for standalone usage in Kubernetes. And few networking issues solution also, like Neutron now provide metadata service over IPv6, and Octavia, the load balancer pool also now support version of proxy protocol. Courier also had its support for the auto detection of VM bridging interface in nested environment. And few of them also, yes, Glance Multistore. You can set up the Multistore in Glance, and you can store the image or import and copy the image across the store. And Tacker is now following the most standard features as per the ATSI NFV guidelines or standards. And OVN, and availability zone support also added in OVN. Like OVN driver now can read the router AZ availability zone hints, and scheduler router port accordingly will be according to the given availability zone. And these are the things we are currently working. We have not finished it in all the OpenStack projects. And one of the important thing is consistent and secure default RBAC. So with the current RBAC, we face two big problems. One is we have a lot of things as admin, and that admin is only a single admin in project level. So even though the operation beyond projects, like system level operations, those are only controlled with a single admin. And second is we didn't have any reader role. So if say for example you have any audit team and you don't want to give any write operation access to them, so there is no, till now there is no reader role you can assign to them, and that works fine. So to solve both of these problems, we are came up with one Popup team, and we are doing consistent and secure RBAC defaults. And basically we'll have the scope concept. So we'll have three scope: domain, system, and project levels. Like if your operation, your API access or operation is at domain level, system level, or project level, you can give the scope tokens accordingly. For example, Noah hypervisor APIs. So in Noah hypervisor API are system level operation. It's not like project level things. So those hypervisor information or those hypervisor information APIs access you can give for the system scoped users, not for the project scoped users. Right, so you can differentiate different APIs with the different scope. So in our API policies, we are going to hard code the scope type. Depends on the APIs and what APIs is returning you the information or what operation they are doing. And we have three roles: admin, member, and reader. Reader role is the newly introduced, so that all these three roles can be combined with the three different scopes. So for example, if you have any audit team, so you can give the reader system or reader project level access to them, so that you don't need to worry about that. Okay, they cannot perform any write operation even accidentally. Right, so these are the improvement we are working on, and we came up with the Popup team on this, and we are hoping to finish it soon. Let's see how it goes. And next, yeah, we are also improving the user-facing APIs, OpenStack clients. Like API from different projects in OpenStack are not so consistent in terms of usage or in terms of their error message or something. So it's different. So what we're doing, like if we can provide a client which is more consistent way, or user can use that client to access the API in a more consistent way, that will be great. So that is also ongoing effort, and there are a lot of discussion happening on this area. We had discussed a lot about it in our last month summit, as well as in our infra summit, as well as in the PTC, and in TC also. This is one of our priority work we are going to work in the next release. And there are few more features going on every project side. So every project has their release planning and feature planning documentation already published in their documentation site or in their spec site, so you can refer those. If you are interested in any of the ongoing feature and you would like to help it, you can contact corresponding project team, and you can always help them. And help is not just the coding or review. Help is also about the feedback, or even the bug report, or sharing your use case, or giving feedback on the defined use case. All these help we count as a contribution in OpenStack community, and we welcome everyone to come together and start working together. So that is all from my side. Thank you very much for listening, and you can reach out to me at my email written there, and at Twitter also. And yeah, thank you very much for having me. Have a nice day.
Such an important project, and so much collaboration going on. Very, very impactful for the world, the OpenStack project. Now, I have a question from our audience. A long-standing issue is project sustainability. Having 54 projects means many choices and features, but production environments need long-term support and a sustainable community to invest on a project. Are there any initiatives to see less abandoned project in the future? I guess what our participant is saying is that there are many projects that start, but many get abandoned.
Yeah, I think that's a very important question, and very important aspect from the open source community wise also. So if you see, like initially we have the concept of incubated versus integrated model in our governance, I think 5 years back. And there we used to have a control, like if there is a duplicate project is coming, so we used to stop that. But in current governance model, we don't have actually strict control or the denying those such project, because we allow now to different way of solving the same problem. So if the project coming up with a different mission, or with a different base technology, or few of the extra use case or problem they are solving, so we accept them. But as at the TC technical committee level, we also control if the project is completely duplicating any of the existing one, then we ask, like, why you can't contribute in the existing one, or what separate or extra thing or mission you will be doing in this project. So we have some certain level of control on those, having the duplicate projects. But if they are solving some extra use case or a different way, then we also do allow. And in terms of the last part, like solving or controlling less, or having the less abandoned project, so in that way, we also provide a different platform where different people, not just the developer, but users, operator also come, like SIG I explained in our presentation. So special interest group are the one area where different operators, developers, or users, or even end user, they come together and discuss the common area or common problem. So that way they can collaborate more into a central single project way. And we also like have a lot of way or places where we go to universities or companies and ask them to contribute in open source, or especially the project where the maintainers are lacking or they are going to abandon. So we have first contact SIG, where we also conduct the upstream training every summit, like twice in a year, or in the local event. So we try to direct or teach those new developers our process and direct them to the project which are need maintainer. So these are the few like way we try to avoid the less abandoned projects. But at the end, if there is like no use case or no one is using those projects anymore, or they are less maintainer, we see like 1 or 2 projects going away from our governance model in a year or so.
Fantastic. Well, I guess sometimes something might seem like a good idea at the time, but then isn't very much a good idea because it gets overtaken by something else. So I don't have any more questions. I want to thank you, Ghanshyam, for joining us this evening. I think, well, it's evening here. From what I saw in your window, you are probably somewhere in the Northern Hemisphere. Am I right?
Yeah, it's around 1 p.m. afternoon here.
Okay, where are you located?
I'm in Manitoba, Canada.
Okay, awesome. In Canada, fantastic. Alrighty, this whole social distancing thing is making me ask everyone, where are you? Even this team is so distributed. You know, where there's a team here in the cube, and then there's a team up in Marusi, and then there's another team, and it's just crazy how we're all collaborating, and the bits are flying through the pipes. I'm so glad that the cables and the fibers are holding up, and the networks, and it's fantastic to have this conversation with you, and thank you for contributing, and thank you for doing everything that you're doing. Keep it up, and I hope we'll welcome you in Athens soon.
Yeah, sure. I'm looking forward for that, and thank you very much for providing opportunity. And it's really great summit